Fire away when you're ready.
They're pretty young side, but you took care of business, and I assume you saw some good signs as the game developed.
Yeah, I mean, I think walking in, there was always a chance there's going to be some, inefficiency possibly, because as the losses build, obviously the importance of the next win comes to the forefront of the mind. So we sort of were able to use the weight of numbers in the end. We look at the numbers, it's quite extraordinary, some of the numbers we were able to achieve across the game. I don't think I'll see bigger ones when it comes to contested possession and being able to transfer the ball from end to end, and some of the marks we were able to generate in the first quarter. A bit unusual game that you wouldn't normally get. Very different to the games that we've been in the last month, which have been highly contested. And so to sort of come here, obviously in the heat, and be able to sort of manage our way through that was pleasing. So, and then get a pretty convincing win, really, in the end.
That was Brody Cam.
Yeah, so suspect Achilles. So we'll get the scans to confirm that. But the action, when you see that action, it never looks great, does it? So, but we'll get the scans to find out and confirm. But he's pretty sore at the moment.
Not going to prevent that, but that's obviously a blow for given his form this year's trending in the right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is to lose. We had to manage a couple of little pieces, moving pieces throughout the game. Obviously losing H early, and then we went to Kempy to come into the ruck, and he went down on us, and so we had to find another way to be able to do it. So it's sort of different conditions. Obviously a bit hotter than what you'd normally get at this time of the year, but the boys finished out the game pretty strong.
How is Harry?
He's okay, but he's obviously in concussion protocol, so at least missing next week.
You've got some options there. You've got Young, you can throw Sauce forward again.
Yeah.
Obviously, what things you work through, but at least you have a little bit of depth in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've still got, obviously, a couple of people to return. So not that Pito's a forward, but he comes back as a ruckman again, so he'll be fit this week. Could have played if there was a game. Elijah has had another week of great training under his belt. Cooper, you've seen come in late. Obviously, for that change for Akers will be okay. He just had illness that he just couldn't quite get up. So there's a few that are in the mix there to obviously return and obviously provide the legs we need for the next game we play.
You obviously got Corey Durden back, and he just needs that run sometimes to get some consistency. But first game, he must be racked with his return on forward. Yeah,
if you look at their little combo that they've got up there with Motts and Durds, they haven't played a lot of football together. Be interesting looking back over the last 3 years to actually see how many games they've played together. Whether it been injury, maybe a bit of form. They're both young men that are trying to find their way into the team, but they've hardly played football together. And when you talk about small forwards and the impact of small forwards in today's game, it goes a long way. And when you've got some big forwards that we've got who draw the ball, I know where I'd like to go if I'm a small forward. I know where the ball's going. So provide that little bit of speed in our front half, a little bit of pressure. He was able to hit the scoreboard today, but mainly it was through his role that he was able to get that done.
You talked about the leaders really leading well this week. So just maybe the way they did that, then also come out, Wearing, Walsh, Skip.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good chats in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I feel like this one was probably the most significant one. So, to the leaders' credit, really well led by all of them. We've got the one game away. That's really what we've done here. Is the one that we needed, and hopefully it's the leverage that obviously we can build some form off the back of.
You talk about that senior brass, but George Hewitt as well. I feel like he's been a consistent cog in that midfield line. It's been a bit shaky across the opening month. Can you talk about his start to the year and what you saw from him?
No, he's been good. I mean, unfortunately, we don't start well. Clouds good things, and we've had a lot of good things. So whether that's our back 6, 7 that have been holding together really, really well, they've played against some formidable forward lines, and they've been able to, hold up really well. We've had another player in that area with Matty Carroll coming into his first game, which, to be fair, we're probably looking for an excuse to get him going. He just wasn't quite, he had an ankle and wasn't quite fit to get going, but he's been knocking the door down. So. Our back 6, 7 has been steadily building their cohesion over the last course of the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've had some mids that have been in great form. George is one of them. He's been fantastic. Whether that's been doing a role or that's been doing some other things, Tom DeConning's been fantastic as well. So yeah, there's a lot of good in there, but unfortunately, when you don't win, there's it puts a cloud over things. How we've defended as a team again today, we defended really, really well. So it's we get to build this in off maybe a bit more a solid base, because the defence has been holding up and the effort has been there. So you don't win contested possession and hold teams to low scores that we have, and then go in and accuse your team for not bringing effort. I mean, you just don't do that. We've got some things we've had to work in our game that clearly we've had to get better, and everyone's seen that. But I'm not going to take away the opportunities we're generating. That's what you've got to get first. And so we've been able to do those, but we haven't been able to maximise it. Today, we got the reward.
Is there a sense of relief and that perhaps this might lift a bit of a weight and allow you to really...
No, I don't know what I feel today. It's not relief. Thought about it. It's nice to get the win. And then I guess, very quickly, you can't help but look for next week. I should be sitting here with a huge smile on my face, but I'm not. So it's probably that might say something about it. We needed it. We got it. I'm extremely proud of our club. I'm proud of our people because they haven't wavered. The support's been significant. We've backed in our program. We've backed our environment. Our training fundamentals have been really strong. So there's no accusations there. What we've struggled to do is make sure that we transfer it. And for whatever reason, that hasn't necessarily been at 100% effectiveness. But it was certainly closer to what we expect today.
Obviously a very well-rounded game today, but obviously moving on to the next one, could be the next win. What is it that you think you'll be focusing on for next week's game against North Melbourne? Like, looking at it on face value today, that you sort of I'd like to see a little bit more from the boys.
Not that I don't want to answer that question, but I'm definitely not going to answer that one right now. So I'm just going to sit with this for a little bit, pull apart the game, and just see where we get better. I think this is the process we're in. Is exactly what we do every single week. You ask me those questions when we lose, and I feed back to you. It's we rock up Monday and we find out what we did well and what we didn't. We won today. We've had a really convincing win against a team that's developing, and we'll look at it exactly the same way. What happened in the game? What do we take out of it? What do we need to get better at? And then we put it into the next game we play. And I think that's the environment we're trying to make sure that we create, is the consistency, the stability of the environment, but also high in challenge when we need to. And we'll keep supporting that environment where we possibly can.
Vossy, do you find it easy or difficult to navigate, I guess, the external noise that had been around before today, I guess, with yourself and the club?
I think when you're locked in on, and you've got a really huge belief of the program that we've got and the people that are in it, I reckon it's easy to keep your eyes in. And that's what we've tried to do right throughout, and we'll continue to do. We've done it previously in the last month. I can't sit here and say it doesn't have a factor. I mean, I don't know what scale though, other than to say that we've obviously been able to keep our eyes in and keep working away and find where we need our progressions and advancements in our team, have humility in the way we look at the game and understand we don't have it all right, and that's okay. But then dive into just being, well, how do we get our team going, and how do we just be a great teammate, and how do we keep supporting one another, and that's what we've been able to do. So we get the one win. I don't want to make it any bigger than that. We got the one win. We needed it, and then we lock our eyes back in when we turn up on Sunday or whatever, Monday, whatever day we actually come back getting ready for North Melbourne.
Is it tougher to review and assess a game like this against a team like the Eagles, given where they are? As you say, some of the numbers are really extraordinary. Does that make it sort of a difficult game to assess from your point of view?
No, not really, because the reality is I don't think it's not my job to be able to determine where any team's at. So it's not my job to determine where they're top of the ladder, where they're bottom of the ladder, or what stage of progression they are in their development. Our job is to go out and execute. And we've got to do that under the conditions, we've got to do that with the ground, we've got to do that with the team playing against. So the best way that we can make sure that we do the right thing is turn up the right way, with the right intensity, with making sure our roles are executed right, with the discipline and the habits that we need to be able to have, because ultimately that's what performance is all about. It's habits, over and over again. When it's going for you, when it's not. Don't walk past when it's not walking for you, and you don't walk past it when it is. So we'll acknowledge the right things and then we'll move forward. Cheers. Thank you.